Welcome back to The Real Screeners. My name is Lenny. This is my co-host Beto. And today we're going to give you our real take on the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. And today, guys, we have a special treat for you. We have two comic book and movie experts. To my right, you have Kevin. To my left, you have Jose. And fair warning, everyone, this is a spoiler review. I know we don't normally do that, but I don't know how you talk about this movie without spoiling a few things and having good discussion, right? So you've been warned.
Thanks for tuning in, and as always, we invite you to please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy our reviews, and look us up on social media. We're on Facebook and TikTok at Real Screeners and Instagram Real.Screeners. And don't forget, if you're on the go, check out our podcast wherever you usually enjoy listening to your podcasts, such as Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And let's dig right into this Q&A and conversation on the Snyder Cut, guys. Are you guys excited?
Yeah, we're excited.
All right, let's do it. All right. So, I mean, what people are talking about, of course, the big news today is 1.5 million tweets to restore the Snyderverse.
Yes.
So what are you guys' feelings about that? Do you
Snyderverse.
guys feel like this should, a franchise that should be restored?
I mean, I say yes, mainly because the ending of this movie was such a tease with not only the epilogue portion, but right before the epilogue portion with Martian Manhunter, and also the other characters that were teased, such as, if you know your comic books, the Atom at the end when he takes over for
Silas Stone.
Silas Stone.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
There's
Ryan
some-
Choi.
Ryan Choi. Yes,
Ryan Choi,
thank you.
the
So
Atom.
for true fans of the DC Comics, of course, they're going to want to see more.
Yes,
Yes.
Because, I mean, come on, they throw in
And-
the Joker at the end.
All that.
Deathstroke.
I was going to say
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
And, you know, they're
Lex
they're
Luthor.
teasing
The plausibility of this alternate future, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
Okay,
and
so-
also teasing the Injustice League, which they also
Exactly.
showed multiple villains: Deathstroke, Lex Luthor.
And then based on just the future of DC, I mean, my boy right here, Black Adam, getting his own movie. They're introducing Hawkman in that, Dr. Fate. So they're getting ready to do the JSA.
And The Rock's
the
gonna be in that,
Injustice
right?
League. Yep,
Yes.
he's going to be Black
Awesome.
Adam.
Yep.
So I just can't wait. They need to restore the Snyderverse because I feel like his version of this movie, I mean, Joss Whedon, you know, he did great with the Avengers and everything, but I did not like his Justice League movie because it was too comedic. This one was more grim. It's how DC should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, very well said.
And that's
Yes.
a great segue to what I want to talk about next
Mhm.
with you guys, because you guys are obviously the comic book experts. I'm not.
I don't know about experts.
but-
I mean, more than I am, that's for sure, you know. So let's talk a little bit about the Josh Whedon version versus the Snyder version. And
Okay.
so,
Okay.
in your opinion, what is it about the Snyder version that makes it a superior version?
All right. So to me, what makes it more superior is like you actually felt like it was going to be like the end of times for the Justice League. You know, Batman having to get everybody together because he knew there was a threat, and they're saying, "Oh, it's almost here." He's like, "No, the threat is here, and we need to get everybody united, find more metahumans, and take out this threat." Whereas, as far as Joss Whedon, it was just like,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah, that's
Avengers
exactly what it
Side.
was.
You know, they
Yeah.
just like a whole bunch of characters just coming together.
with no character development whatsoever.
Right.
know,
So let me
Like,
ask,
how did Cyborg become Cyborg? How did the Flash not have control of his
No, that's so
powers?
true.
It's like, what the heck?
that's very
you know?
true.
Like,
They omitted a lot. And so let me ask you, like, why do you think Whedon worked very well for the MCU, but not so much this one?
I feel like Joss Whedon did better with the Avengers than he does DC because I feel like Marvel is more family oriented anyway.
There's that too.
Because
Okay.
DC is supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be grim. Like, you know, you're supposed to see that stuff.
So,
Yeah.
so you're saying basically that Josh Whedon does better with that type of tone, and
Exactly.
that type of.
Yes.
So obviously, what I'm getting from you guys is that the Snyder version got the tone better,
Way
Much
better.
darker,
Mhm.
more grim,
Grittier.
higher
Mhm.
stakes, maybe.
Yes.
Exactly.
But, you know, I do want to make a point that, you know, it's slightly unfair to compare a 2-hour movie to a 4-hour movie.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes,
Yes,
it is.
you're right. But that's what also you try to take in the same scenes, right? That's where you make a comparison because you take the scene of for example, the sewer fight scene, right? You look at Josh Whedon's and you look at Zack Snyder's.
Yeah.
There are differences in the movie that affect the flow of the movie, in my opinion.
Right.
I was like, you look at Josh Whedon's, the Flash in that sewer fight doesn't know what to do.
Right.
He has to rely on Batman
being his
tell him,
mentor.
save one.
And
That's all you need to do.
Okay.
And you come back to, and then you go to Zack Snyder's.
There you go.
The Flash is already doing his own thing.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, there's those differences, and also the ambient lighting is a big thing.
Wow,
in
good
this
observation.
Mhm.
Yes, the ambient lighting. If you look at the Zack Snyder's and Josh Whedon, Zack Snyder's ambient lighting is a lot darker. It's harder to see things, which complements what's happening on screen.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
to your point on the Flash, I totally agree. You know, Ezra Miller does a fantastic job.
Yes.
You know, with his acting,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But me personally, I didn't really care for the way the Flash was portrayed in the Whedon cut versus the Snyder cut. I felt like in the Snyder
Exactly.
cut, they made him more heroic, kind of redeemed him a little bit more.
Yes.
Mhm.
He was more ridiculous in the original.
Yeah, and
Yes,
clumsy.
He was
he was the
scared.
he's
He
the
was
comedic relief.
Yeah, he was the comedic relief. He was the klutz.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, like
Well, I mean, overall, I suppose something worth talking about is the characterization in the Snyder Cut versus this movie,
Yes.
or versus the original. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the strengths of the Snyder Cut is that they delve deeper into the characterization. And that's one of
Definitely.
the things that I appreciated about it, for
Of course. You know.
sure. Specifically, Darkseid and Steppenwolf,
Mhm.
Cyborg,
mhm.
I think get
Cyborg
a
gets
lot
a
exactly like
award.
Cyborg. So
Right,
like when
right.
you saw Joss Whedon's version, if no one even know who Cyborg is, how did he become Cyborg? Was he
Right.
just born that way? It's like no, there was a whole story behind it, and Zack
Exactly.
Snyder got it.
Mhm.
You know,
Right, yeah.
he was a football player. He was
Going to
I
Harvard,
guess
I
yeah,
think?
he was gonna go. I don't know
Oh,
where.
no, it
what
was
school.
Harvard, but
He was already in college, but
yes.
he was going places, and his dad was never there because he's always busy with science and everything like that. His mom was his biggest hero. They get in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the mom dies. The dad's
Yeah.
there, and he saves his son because his son was about to die too. Saves his son with a mother box with technology, and that's how he becomes
Right.
Cyborg.
right.
No
right.
one knew that in the Joss Whedon version. They're like, "Who is this
Right.
guy?"
Yes.
People may have known him from a cartoon called Teen Titans. That's it.
Mhm.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, no
Yeah,
one
it's a
knew
totally
the
different
adult
tone.
version
Yeah.
of Cyborg.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this movie, the original Justice League was 2017, right?
Right.
But then the Avengers have been around since what, 2012?
Yes.
2012.
So,
Yep.
so it makes you wonder, like, do you think they may have borrowed some aspects from the MCU?
I mean, well, it's. I wouldn't say that because Justice League has been. I think it was. Don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure, but I think in the comics, Justice League was created before the Avengers were created.
I'll
So
tell you
it's-
one thing: Batman and Superman were before
Oh, hands
Spider-Man
down, yes.
Well,
and
yeah,
the Avengers.
but I mean, as far
Yes.
as like some parallels, as far as the storyline.
The story. I mean, when you compare the comics, they're always going to have very similarities.
Right, because at the end of the day, they're archetypes, right?
exactly.
Yeah, I love the fact that they included Darkseid because to me that gave Steppenwolf more motivation and it
Mhm.
gave the story just overall more depth.
Well, yeah, with
Exactly.
his backstory and motivation,
Yeah.
of course.
Is there anything that Whedon got better than Snyder?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and a lot of people aren't gonna like me, but Josh Whedon got Batman better than Zack Snyder.
Yep.
You read every single Batman comic, or well, especially the newer ones, right? Batman is probably the smartest. I won't say not the smartest, but he is one of the smartest people in the DC universe. The biggest thing for me was in Josh Whedon's Pet Cemetery scene where they bring back Superman,
Yeah.
right? Batman had a backup plan in case Superman
went crazy.
and that backup plan was Lois Lane. And you can see that in the scene when
Right, the big
Superman,
guns.
yeah, the big guns. When Superman is not choking him out, but like has him in the air, and he's like, "Alfred, bring the big guns."
Yeah.
And that's when Alfred comes in with Lois Lane, calms down Superman, and they go off. Right?
Exactly.
In
Very
Zack
good point,
Snyder's,
yeah.
Lois Lane was just happened
just
to be
happened to
there.
be there.
Yeah.
And that's
Because she saw it in the sky.
yeah, she saw in the sky and something's going on, and they go
Yeah.
over there, and that
And that
takes
took
away
away
from who Batman
It
really
really
is.
does.
Now, one thing I noticed that they did, I guess, better in this one was they really made it a point to explain a lot in this version. Obviously, you have 4 hours to do that.
For 4 hours,
they put a lot of stuff that was like, why is this in here?
yeah. And honestly, for 4 hours, they could have made it so much better. But again,
Yes.
it's like I've been talking to Jose, like, throughout the week, whatever. Zack Snyder had he had so many plans, what he wanted to do, but WB shut it down. He wanted to bring the Green Lantern in. He wanted Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn to come in. He had all these plans, but WB's like, nope, you're going to do your Snyder Cut version, basically, and that's it. We're scrapping this.
It's interesting that you say that because there's been a lot of talk about how Zack Snyder was allowed to actually create his vision,
Hmm.
but there was still
It's-
some sort of control. Like
Exactly.
he didn't have all the creative control
the
that
way
he
didn't.
could have.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's why I feel like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? And he even went to Ryan Reynolds and asked him if he wanted to reprise his role as a Green Lantern.
Redeem yourself.
Yeah. But can you imagine if you saw Ryan Reynolds, saw Margot Robbie? Like, you already know who those characters are, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, that would have made the movie like so much better
Mhm.
within the 4 hours that they had. Instead, most of the time it was just like an operatic singing. It was
I
them
totally
going to
agree with you on that.
Atlantis.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
So he was trying to stretch that out
Yeah.
with whatever WB gave him.
I agree with you on that because yeah, like that singing with where Aquaman was with Batman,
Yeah, it's like,
little
what was
things
that?
like that.
What was
I mean,
that?
and I kind of feel like yes, I did appreciate some of the cinematography being more
Mhm.
artistic in this one because
Yeah.
it kind of was another type of character and it helped
Yes.
tell the narrative.
Mhm.
But then there were times where I felt like you're drawing certain things out, like the fact that, for example, Victor Cyborg was handing off a football in
Mhm.
slow motion, like it was a fake handoff. And I was like, why does that have to be drawn out? Like little things like that
Mhm.
they could have cut out. So, what did you guys think of some of the characters? We've talked a lot about the plot. We've talked a lot about
Mhm.
the differences in narrative structure. But what about some of the characters, whether it was the acting or just how the characters were written?
Okay.
I mean, to me, all the characters were I think most of the characters were well written,
Mhm.
right? And I didn't feel like I was watching an actor for most of the movie. I actually felt like this
Ye-
is the character specifically for Flash. Even though this is to a lot of people, this is a new type of Flash because this is a
Mhm.
very young Flash who understands a lot of his powers, but not fully completely. But he knows how to use most of it.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, like that whole scene when he's going for a job application and then a car wreck happens and he goes to
Yeah.
save that girl. Like,
Yeah.
I
you
like
didn't-
that scene.
that was a good
Yes,
scene.
it-
And it showed you how powerful he is. Like, how
Yeah.
he was able to break the glass with just by touching it, run as fast as he can, save her.
Grab a hot dog,
Grab
while
a hot
he's
dog,
you know,
you
know,
in the middle
you
of
know,
it.
and it's good.
and then be back there when everything goes back to normal and he's just with the dogs
Yeah.
and they're licking his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
then
what
same
happened?
thing.
You
Yes,
know, like,
yeah, same thing. You go now to Victor Stone, who is Cyborg, right?
Mhm.
You get why he's angry,
In the 1st
Mhm.
one, you know, he has so much bitterness toward his father.
but you don't understand.
But you think it's just because he turned me into a machine, but
Yeah.
this humanized him, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
When you add in
exactly,
when you add in that threat of his
you
mother.
feel his
Mhm.
anger and you sympathize it. You know, that's another good, I think, check mark for
The Snyder Cut.
the
The
Snyder
Snyder
cut.
Cut.
You know, to me, Batman, Wonder Woman. I mean, we've seen multiple versions of Batman.
Well, speaking of Batman, I know, Beto, earlier today you had mentioned your thoughts on Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman and Gal Gadot.
I have never thought of Ben Affleck as a good actor. Of course, I don't even want to compare him to the other actors that have played Batman before. I just feel like every time I see Ben Affleck speak, it feels like he's reading off of a script. And I see an actor, I don't see a character, and that's the way that I feel whenever I see him. And Gal Gadot is okay as Wonder Woman, but compared to, for example, Ezra Miller as Flash or
Jason
Jason
Momoa.
Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I feel like those two, I buy into their characters.
Right, they bring some personality to those roles,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, I'm with you on Wonder Woman. Sometimes I wonder, is she playing to try to be like the strong, wise, princess, or is she just kind of trying to play that safe zone of acting? Sometimes I can't quite
She
tell.
comes off sometimes as a little bit like boring. Like she takes her time, I think, sometimes delivering her lines, and I don't know if that's just done on purpose, but I don't know. She just comes off as a little bit like lackluster when it comes to personality.
We need to see her in another big role.
I think so.
I do want to make sure that we talk about that epilogue because that's arguably the juiciest part of the movie. I mean, because it's a big tease, right?
it's-
So talk to us about that.
The epilogue I thought was awesome because it basically gave us a what if version if Lois Lane was to die, how Superman would react. And apparently he becomes a tyrant. He wants to kill everybody that stands in his way. So to me, because I'm a huge comic book fan, I'm thinking that's leaning towards Injustice. And for people who don't know what Injustice is, what it is when Joker poisoned Superman into thinking he's seeing Doomsday. Lois was pregnant with his child. All he saw was Doomsday, and he saw it as a threat. He killed his own wife. He killed his own wife. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing is, so Superman becomes a tyrant, he ends up killing the Joker right in front of Batman. And then once Batman saw that, that's when he knew like he has to stop him. So I think that's what Zack Snyder is doing, because the same characters were in there: Deathstroke, Mira. I'm pretty sure Shazam will be in there because in the Injustice series, that's what happens.
So do you think that this is meant to be an alternate timeline or the future of this current timeline that we're seeing in the
No,
movie?
this is definitely an alternate universe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the comics, Batman gets help from an alternate Joker to help him to get a team to stop Superman.
What do you think, Jose?
I think it is. I don't think it's an actual alternate future. I think it's more of a possible future that Batman is seeing what's happening,
Okay.
because in the middle of the movie, it's when they're in the Batcave and he's actually having conversations with Gal Gadot. He mentions that it's not the first time he's had that dream, or actually a dream similar to that. He mentions that he's had a dream where he's sitting in the same spot where he's sitting when he's talking to Wonder Woman, right? And he says, Barry Allen is sitting across from me, and he's telling me that Lois is the key.
Wasn't that in the Batman versus Superman movie, where the Flash comes out and he says, "You were right about him," and he says something like, "Oh, I'm too soon."
Yeah.
Wasn't that in Batman versus Superman?
I think
I-
it's no,
yeah,
yeah,
he
it
like
was.
breaks out of the Speed
it
Force
was.
for a little bit.
It was.
It was.
Okay.
hmm
So they've been planning this for a while then. Okay.
Yes.
He has.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, Zack Snyder directed the
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus
Okay.
Superman. He was leading everything.
Those are
towards
his
this.
three
Directed
movies.
Man of Steel.
Yeah,
Yes.
Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and then Justice League. Those are his.
All
That's
of
his,
which are better than
that's
the
his
Whedon.
trilogy.
Yes.
Yes.
Better than the Whedon Justice League.
Hands down.
No coincidence.
Yeah.
One last question: the Joker.
Mhm.
Okay, and Jared Leto. Talk about that. What did you guys think of that exchange between he and Batman?
Man, just in like I want to say it's probably maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Just in that one monologue that he had, like I thought it was great. And he was just basically trying to tell Batman. He was trying to get under Batman's skin, basically, and that's exactly what
I
he
think
did.
he did a great job.
I thought he did a great job too.
He's a great actor.
Yes, yes, he is.
And
I
he kind of
agree
made
with
it.
that.
He kind of made a reference to Jason Todd, right?
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
Right.
When
Right.
he
Sending a
said-
boy wonder. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do a
to do a
man.
man's job.
I
Yep.
thought he was going to choke him out right there.
Yeah.
So
You know.
where do we go from here? Right. I mean, we know that Flashpoint is coming out with Ezra Miller next year. I mean, how are they going to pull this universe back together? Are they going to? What role is Ben Affleck going to have as Batman? Moving on and on. What do you guys think?
I don't know. Like I said, just based on that the CEO of WB said that they scrapped everything. So it's literally like we saw this movie for nothing. That's exactly what it
That's why
feels
everyone
like.
wants a petition. For,
Yeah, that's why they
okay.
want to petition it. And honestly, them petitioning is the reason the Snyder Cut was on HBO Max in the first place, because the fans won and WB's like, all right, well, just do it already.
Right.
So maybe it'll happen again. But right now, as far as like the future looks, it doesn't look like they're gonna give Zack Snyder any chance of doing a fourth movie. It just doesn't look like it, because they already have so many movies coming out. They got Robert Pattinson as Batman now, so Ben Affleck's gone. You should be happy
But
about that.
Very happy.
Yeah.
But isn't he supposed to have a cameo in Flashpoint? I thought
He's
I had read that.
supposed
supposed to,
but
but
that
we
was
never
but you got to remember when that happened. That was before Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So now it might be Robert
I'm glad-
Pattinson
glad
and
I
Michael
have you guys.
Keaton.
Mhm.
And then, but last I read, Michael Keaton has scheduling conflicts, so we don't even know. We don't even know what's going to happen with the Flash movie anymore.
Wow.
All I know is the future of the DC right now. Suicide Squad's coming out on August
Mhm.
6th. They're going
Directed
to
by James Gunn. From
Yes,
the
James Gunn.
MCU.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting, right?
It will be interesting. Sylvester Stallone as King Shark. That's gonna be crazy.
Okay, so you guys know more than I do. I didn't even know that was
Yeah.
going to be a thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And then next year you got Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Which
Hopefully,
looks dark.
it
and
looks really
gritty
good.
and-
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
the way
excited.
Batman's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
And then,
and then Black Adam.
Mhm.
There you go.
Heck
Which
yeah.
is
No.
slated- Well, so
Nice.
we don't know much about it, but it's slated to release.
All we know is that Pierce Brosnan has been casted as Dr. Fate. That was
Mhm.
released yesterday,
Okay.
so we were very
Yes.
excited about
I
that.
don't know who that is, but it's Pierce. But
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan is portraying him, so I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Oh, I was like, you don't know? Oh, I was like, you don't know
Oh, no,
Pierce
I know Pierce
Brosnan?
Brosnan.
James Bond, bro.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know the character.
Doctor Fate is DC's version of
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Exactly.
Oh, who ripped off who?
Honestly, Marvel did.
Now it's time for our real ratings, where we rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 5 movie reels. Obviously, 5 being the best, 1 being the lowest. We'll go ahead and start with Kevin. Kevin, talk about your real rating for this movie and tell us why you gave it that.
All right, so for me, I would honestly give this movie 3.5 reels. I mean, I hate to do that because I was really expecting to give it 5, being Zack Snyder, and I know exactly what he wanted to do. I remember reading everything he wanted to do, but WB shut it down. So I have to give it 3.5 because I don't know what Zack Snyder could have done. But all in all, it was a good movie. It was very long, but I thought it was a good movie. I love the cameo, the epilogue. It just sucks that basically we saw this movie for nothing. WB, please restore the Snyderverse.
Well, maybe not for nothing if we can get all of you guys to support
Restore
that.
the
Yeah.
Snyder.
Restore the Snyderverse, please.
Let's do it.
Get to 2 million tweets. 3 million tweets.
Let's do it. Let's keep going up. Okay. All right. So 3.5. I thought you would give it more, but okay. That's yours. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give it a little bit more than that. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 reels.
4.
Okay. I think that if I were a big DC fanboy, I'd rate it higher. But I just kind of felt like it dragged a lot. I mean, obviously, how can it not drag at 4 hours
4
of length,
hours.
right? I felt like it was being too self-aware of being artsy-fartsy in certain areas where it didn't really need to be. I did feel like this was a vast improvement from the Whedon cut, but the Whedon cut to me was like 2 reels minus. So, I mean, if I'm going to double that, I'll give it 4 reels. I had a good time, but like I said, it felt a little overlong at points. What about you, Beto?
Yeah, I really have nothing new to add, so I'm just gonna give it 3 reels. To me, I mean, you guys have said pretty much the way that I felt about it. It feels overlong, a lot of backstory, and for people that really, really love DC, I can see how they would eat all of that up because, of course, they're gonna be excited to see it on the screen.
Mhm.
I really am big on comedy when it comes to superhero movies, I have found, and I'm also big on good acting. And I think that the Marvel movies really
Excel on that.
excel far superior in those areas. So for that reason, 3 reels.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm going to put it at 3.5 reels. Like Lenny said, massive improvement from the Josh Whedon in a lot of aspects of filmmaking, I believe. Especially making it grittier, darker, as dark comics should be.
Amen.
You know, and also taking away the comedy from it, which is against what you were saying, but you know, everyone has their own preference. Yeah, yeah.
I did like that about
You know,
this
everyone
movie.
has their own preferences how they like their movies. Josh Whedon did get a few things right, which Zack Snyder took away from the movie.
Mhm.
So that was my conflict. Why I'm not going more than 3.5.
Wow. Ironic that the only guy not wearing a DC shirt gave it the highest rating. That's so funny. Okay. All right. Well, but we're all in agreement that it's a vast improvement.
Yes.
Very.
Now, some people are saying greatest comic book movie ever. I mean, what do you have to say to that?
I say no. I say no.
No.
No
Dark
way.
Knight Trilogy
No.
is superior.
No, in my honest, this is just in my humble opinion. You know, this is just my opinion. This movie right here is probably the best comic book movie there is. That's The Dark Knight.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, you know what, guys? I really enjoyed having you guys on the show. We got to do this more often. Man. You
Yes,
guys are-
definitely.
aside
Thanks
from
for
being-
having us.
Yeah. Aside from being like
Super
comic
knowledgeable,
book
right?
knowledgeable, you guys are really good at analyzing movies, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely gotta get you guys back on. So, well, we really hope you guys enjoyed this real take on the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. Like we said, leave your comments down below on anything if it's involving our review, or if you want to say something about the movie, let us know down below. And of course, Beto, where can they find us?
Yes, don't forget to look us up on social media. We're on Facebook and TikTok, Real Screeners, and Instagram, Real.Screeners. And of course, if you enjoy our reviews, and of course, we don't often do spoiler-filled reviews, but if you did like this particular review, please let us know below. And always subscribe, share, and like our videos. And join us next time for our next Real Take on Movies.